It's the biggest probate real estate blunders. Bill and I each made a list of the biggest blunders we could think of, and we're going to go over those for you right now. Let's go. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Brendan Mohr, certified probate and trust specialist and California realtor.
And I'm Bill Heyman. I'm a licensed California professional fiduciary. I'm also a registered and bonded legal document assistant specializing in probate in both California and Nevada. I'm a licensed California real estate broker and a licensed realtor in Nevada.
How many probates have you handled, Bill?
I have handled over 3,000 probates in both California and Nevada. So you could say I have a little bit of experience.
Yeah, I think you probably know what you're talking about. And I work with Bill every day, so I really enjoy his expertise. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, because if you're looking for probate real estate information, we have a lot for you, and this will act as a bookmark for you. And we're releasing new videos every single week. So please look down below for our information, like, subscribe. Please comment on our videos, ask us questions, email, call, messenger pigeon, and also check us out for our very unique probate administration service and real estate listing combo that saves money for our clients every day in California and Nevada. All right, so Bill, the biggest probate real estate blunders. There are so many, and each of us jotted down a bunch of them before we met today. And we're just going to kind of go back and forth, and I haven't heard what he's got, so we probably have some overlap.
Probably.
But I know that your list is a little bit longer than mine, being someone who's been in the probate field for so long. You've seen so much. So why don't you go ahead and start?
Sure. I'm going to start out on my list with not disclosing the fact that the decedent passed away in the home. A lot of times, people forget to do this, and it can come back to bite you.
Oh yeah. A buyer definitely wants to know, and if you didn't tell them, then that's an even bigger deal for probably some court action later on, maybe.
Oh yeah. In fact, a lot of people who try to sell a house without a realtor will not disclose that fact, and if it's found out later by the buyer after the fact, I would not want to be in that seller's shoes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that kind of gets to maybe the first one I have on my list, because
Sure.
I think an experienced realtor would handle that among so many other things. But I'd say with the biggest real estate blunder, not hiring a realtor who's experienced in probate, because probate is so much different than probate real estate is so much different than a regular real estate sale, especially from the listing side of it, that you really want to have that kind of agent. We have a video that is linked below. It's called, what is it called? How to hire a probate real estate agent. Yeah. And it has 10 questions in the video that you can ask agents, including the answers to the questions, or I think appropriate answers. And there's a downloadable link with those 10 questions plus 5 additional questions.
Yeah, very valuable tool for anybody, any administrator, executive that's looking to hire a real estate agent for a probate sale.
Make sure to check that out. It's one of our most important videos, and that downloadable link is going to be very helpful for you. What else you got?
Well, I got one here, Brendan, that you and I have had some experience with, and it can be quite a blunder if you don't prepare for this. And that is, if you selling a probate home, if there's tenants living in the probate home, especially if they're heirs to the estate, and you don't prepare and make them aware that there's going to come a time in the very near future where they're going to have to get out of the home because it's being sold. And the other blunder that goes along with that is we always recommend that you have a 60-day notice served on the tenants, whether they're heirs or not, because you may need that later if you've got to do
eviction. Yeah. We can talk so much more about this. There's so many problems that can arise from tenants not allowing viewings of the property, to building confidence for a buyer to buy that property, and wonder what's going to happen with the tenants, because typically somebody looking to buy a house, they don't care that it's in probate or not. They're just looking to buy a home to live in. They want to know when they're going to be able to occupy that home. And we've had situations where we've had difficulty with tenants in the home, and often they're heirs of the estate who refuse to leave and then find themselves in court later on. It's it's a pretty big deal. But you want to have that handled before you ever go on market.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to be proactive in that. So what else you got, Brandon?
Well, let's see. Well, as the personal representative, that's whoever the court appoints, either the administrator or executor. Um, as the personal representative, not reviewing and acknowledging documents and reports promptly. So, real estate is there's contractual guidelines, especially once you accept an offer. There's contract dates that you must abide by. It can be serious if you do not do it. So you got to be prepared for that. There's days that you have to have things done. And once you acknowledge certain documents, it may take several days for that item to be taken care of. For example, if there's a mortgage on the property, the title company is going to send out a document giving permission to the title company to get what's called the payoff demand for the mortgage. And the title company, they need to get that directly from the lender. It can't be like a mortgage statement or anything like that. It's the final payoff demand from the mortgage lender. And if you don't sign that immediately and get it over to the title company, it can cause serious delays, because then the mortgage company may have an issue with that it's in probate. It may take several weeks just to get the demand, the payoff demand. You can be elongating a sale. And when you elongate a sale, a buyer may cancel the sale because of several reasons involved in that.
Yeah. And, as I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan, on those payoff demands, they're dated. That payoff that the lender quotes you is only good through a certain date. So if there's other delays that occur, the title company, I believe, is going to have to go back and get a whole new payoff demand with a new good date on it.
And we can be talking about it even longer if you know what an interest rate lock is for a buyer. When a buyer is buying a home, they lock their interest rate, and it costs a lot of money. If they have to extend it, it costs a lot more money, and they may not be able to afford that. So they may just be canceling the sale, and they may make an issue of things looking for damages because you're not doing things in a timely manner. So when your agent reaches out to you, when a title company reaches out to you, respond quickly. Do things as quick as possible.
You bet.
Yeah,
you bet.
I think I spent a little bit of time on that one, Bill. But why don't you give us one?
Sure. I got one here. I kind of like it. I'm not necessarily that other people are going to like it, but waiting longer to probate a home than is necessary. I mean, you and I have had experience with clients of ours who have waited 5, 10, 15 years to start a probate. And this can have a dramatic effect on past due property taxes. Because what a lot of people don't quite understand is that when someone passes away, the county assessor, if they had been living in that home, say, for 20 years, they got low property taxes. But on the date they pass, the assessor is going to up the property taxes to current market value to the date they passed. Then if the family waits 10 years to start probate, there's going to be 10 years of supplemental property taxes that are going to be due, which is, I know this is a little technical, which is going to be the difference between what the property taxes were 20 years ago and what they are on date of death. And that can add up to a ton of money. In fact, we've had a very recent client that had to go out and take a loan out for over $40,000.
Yeah, it was tens of thousands of dollars. It was a lot
to pay these property taxes. It's just another good reason that you don't want to wait to start probate. You want to start probate as soon as possible. And I know some people will put it off because of the cost, but we have a video on that, of course. If you use our services, cost is immaterial. It's not going to, it actually won't be a cost to you.
That's a great one. I'm going to go with one of mine now.
Sure.
Okay.
Go
And
ahead.
this is something we see a lot, and it's hard to know this before you get into it, but using a probate professional like an attorney or a non-attorney probate administration service like we have, that does not communicate well. And if they're not communicating well with you as a seller or an heir to the estate, especially if you're the personal representative, the administrator or executor, then that's probably going to be really bad news in the probate sale. And we see that frequently. It can really slow things down. It can elongate the amount of time that it takes to finish the entire probate, and it can be disastrous for a sale.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. I got one here. Pouring a lot of money into fixing up a probate home before analyzing whether it's really going to bring you back more than you put into it. And I mean, this is one that is very highly dependent on the condition of the market. And I don't know, maybe Brendan, you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Markets change, and at the time that we're making this video, we've been seeing a market at times decline or steady out. It just really depends on what the market's doing at that time. And it's a possibility that you could be putting money into it that takes a long time, and then the market's declining, so you end up really losing all that equity that you think that you're building. Now, in an up market, if it's really hot, then that might be good. But I would say you always want to talk with a realtor first, because sometimes people do things with homes that really don't add that much value. And we can get into that in a later video, what adds value and really what doesn't. You could be spending a ton of money on things like insulation for the home, but no one sees the insulation when they're going to put in an offer. So you maybe just put in $5,000, and you're just not going to see a return on that.
It back.
Yeah.
Well, what else you got?
Yeah. Thanks. Let's see. How about not allowing time to review the title report before going on market? And this goes into the title report is something that your realtor, hopefully, if you're working with a realtor, that's the way I highly recommend to go. Opens up escrow with an escrow company, and they get the title report. And there could be a lot of problematic things in the title report, and you need time to be able to review those with your agent. And if there's anything on there that's problematic, resolve them. And it can be all sorts of issues with a mortgage that's still on there that you believe was paid off. With a video on that about the reconveyance deed, if you want to learn more about that in some of our videos, among other things, liens of all sorts. Bill?
Yeah, I got one here. Stopping payment of the mortgage on a probate home during probate. Man, do we get this a lot. We get a lot of people who, a lot of times they think that for whatever reason, hey, the house is in probate and we're putting it up for sale, we don't have to make those mortgage payments. They can't foreclose on it. Man, that's not true. It doesn't matter if your home's in probate or not. The lender doesn't care. They want their money. They can foreclose no matter what. And I sure wish people would know that as long as it's not going to put a financial hardship on them, they should continue to make the mortgage payment and all monthly payments that are associated with the house.
Yeah. Oh my. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Selling the home off market. That one, you're very likely to not get market value, which is your job as a personal administrator to get the most proceeds for the sale. You could find yourself in court later on. That's a big one. And if you're working with a realtor that's pushing for that, I'm guessing they probably don't know probate very well. You got to expose that to the market so you can get the top dollar.
Yeah, just what you said. When you're the executor or administrator of an estate, you have a legal fiduciary responsibility to always do what's in the best interest of the estate and the heirs. And if you're going to sell off market at a discounted price, you're not doing what's in the best interest. And just what Brendan said, you could find yourself in court later facing a lot of problems.
Yeah. What else you got?
Let's see. I've got one here. It doesn't happen that often, but I have seen it. It's where the administrator, executor, they rely on the probate attorney to take care of all the real estate docs and all the real estate end of things. Well, you got to understand that, the real estate attorney, the probate attorney, his job is to do the probate, not to sell the real estate. It's the executor administrator's job to actually get the probate home sold. So it's their job to hire a realtor and get the probate home sold. It's not the probate attorney's job to do that in 99% of the probate sales. So that's one that, again, it's not that often I get it, but I do get it occasionally. How about you, Brendan?
I would say, let's see, not disclosing the fact that the home is being sold in probate to potential buyers and their agents. I would think that that would be likely if you're trying to sell it on your own. Again, I don't recommend that. But if you don't hire an agent maybe experienced enough with it to really know what to say, it's not just telling them even how that it's in probate, which is a big deal, but giving them an idea of what kind of authority has been granted and some of the process. And we have a whole video on that whole thing, but it'd be a big blunder to not disclose probate.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I've got one on my list, Brendan, that it kind of ties into what you're saying. It's where you've got most likely an inexperienced realtor dealing with probate, and he goes out and makes promises to the buyers that, oh yes, we can do a quick escrow close. Well, you can't make promises like that to buyers unless you know exactly what's going on with this probate and the probate sale. And inexperienced realtors won't know, and they will more likely cause you a lot more problems than they'll solve by doing things like that.
That almost sounds like someone who's pushing for an off-market sale.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
they work with an investor. I
yep.
just don't like that.
No,
And I think that can be problems down the road. I think
absolutely,
that would come from inexperience.
absolutely.
Um, and that puts the personal representative at at risk.
Big risk. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. So
Let's see if I have anything else here, Bill, that doesn't
sure.
overlap some of yours because
Yeah, we
I've
have
had
some stuff that
yeah.
overlaps.
Um, well, not using a title company at all, which I think would happen if you're doing a for sale by owner.
Right, on
Um,
a probate home.
yeah, if you're using a realtor, that's very unlikely to happen.
Right, right,
But there's so much that a title company does to make sure that the title is clear. Um, it helps to prevent fraud
right.
for one, among other things.
Yeah,
But working with a title company is
it's always
crucial.
recommended.
Yeah.
Always recommended. Yeah.
Anything else for us?
Well, I think Brendan. I think I've pretty much gone through my list. We do have some overlapping things, but it was kind of fun to do this, to just make up a list
Yeah,
here and see
yeah,
us compare.
yeah. It definitely was. There's probably some other things. There's some other probably some big blunders that you don't really see very often that we've
Yeah,
seen.
blunders do
Um,
abound.
but I would say the biggest blunder in real estate. This has to be the biggest blunder in probate real estate. Maybe besides not hiring a listing agent who is experienced in probate, but that's paying too much for probate and
Yeah,
the probate real estate process. And we have a great way for you to prevent that. If you're in California or Nevada, we offer a probate administration service and probate listing combo that is very unique. It saves clients thousands and thousands of
yeah,
dollars. In fact, we don't know of another team that does what we do.
yeah. We don't.
You can learn a whole lot more about that by watching a video we have linked next called How Much Does Probate Cost in California?